This season, Riot did something a little different, and the ranked system is now split up into 2 separate splits. And so you may not have even noticed it. It may not be at the top of your mind, but split 1 is actually coming to an end very, very soon. This is less than a month from now that the split will be over, and you will get your final rank of the split. Usually, someone like myself, I know that I usually procrastinate a lot until the very end of the season and do a lot of my grinding. This is my heads up to all of you guys. That time to start grinding is now. The end of the split is coming very soon, and that's why I wanted to sit down today and talk about 5 things that you can do to help yourself climb in this last month of the split to help get to that desired peak rank, whatever it is that you're looking to get to. If you guys go on to enjoy this video and find these tips helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe, because a large majority of you guys who are watching my content are actually subscribed at the moment. So let's get into it now. The split is going to end on July 17th. So again, not a whole lot of time to work with here, but if you implement these tips and tricks, you may have a better shot. We're going to start out with the first thing here, which is just to focus on what has been working and what hasn't been working. It's time to sit back and reflect. I would really recommend looking at your op.gg, because this does tell a lot of the story, and it doesn't say everything. I'm not going to tell you guys that your KDA and your win rate and everything like that tells the whole picture, because obviously it doesn't, but we can still take a look at some of these stats and get a better idea of what's working and what's not working. I'll go ahead and use my own profile here as a good example. My most played champion on the season has been Rakan. 70 games played, 60% win rate. This has been one of my best champions, even after a couple recent losses. This is one of my best champions, and I'm going to continue to play this champion for that reason. I can also look down here and see that Annie has a 57% win rate, even though I only have 37 games played on the champion. That's another champion that I might say to myself, you know, I haven't been playing this champion nearly as much as I probably should be. Why don't I start playing this champion a little bit more frequently? But then we can even look down here at something like the Maokai, right? A 34% win rate with 29 games played. I keep trying to make Maokai work because it was one of my more successful champion picks from the last 2 seasons. For some reason, whatever reason it may be, it's not working for me this season. So this is something that I need to look at and realize, okay, if I'm looking to grind and finish out this split strong, Maokai is not going to be one of the champions that I'm going to use in order to get there. Just to kind of round things off here, the Renata has been kind of okay for me, probably not worth picking. Bard has been really solid. The Milio has been really solid. Probably don't need to play the Nami. You know, just take a look at these simple stats on your own op.gg and get a better understanding of what's working and what's not working. Things like the Rakan for myself, the Bard, the Annie, I'll continue playing those. Something like the Maokai, the Renata, the Nami, those are things I need to let go. I wanted to show this meme here because I think this is like a perfect, accurate representation. Sometimes you want to make things work, you want to make things last, and they just don't. So it's like this backpack here. This is my Maokai. I'm holding on by a string, and sometimes it's just time to move on and get a different champion pick because this backpack's not going to work much longer. The next tip that I have for you guys is to focus on quality over quantity. And I know a lot of you guys, including myself in previous seasons, maybe procrastinated until the very last day or week, whatever it may have been, and tried to cram as many games in as possible. That is not going to be the best solution, because what you're doing is you're going to be playing forcefully. You may not be in the right mindset. You may be hungry. You may be tired. You may have distractions. There may be a lot of things going on, and you're just not playing high quality League of Legends. So my advice to you is to start sooner rather than later. Don't procrastinate like you probably did for all your high school assignments. Get started now. Don't wait until the split is literally in its final week. Start grinding now. Start the process of grinding now, and you'll be much happier with yourself later on. And even looking at the screen here, I may not be setting the best example because all these games that I played are pretty much within the same day. But I do think it's important to note that it's different for everybody. Some people are capable of playing 20 games in a single day and being in a healthy, good mindset the whole time. If that's you, props to you. You know, if you're capable of doing that. Myself, I can usually play like 6 to 8 games a day, and then I'm kind of tapped out. I'm tired. I'm not focused as much. I'm not playing high quality League of Legends anymore. It varies from everybody, or for everybody. If you're the type of person that can only play a couple games before you get tilted or you get distracted or whatever it may be, and then you're not playing at the top level anymore, take a break. Maybe get back on the game later that same day. Maybe come back tomorrow. Whatever it may be, whatever it is that allows you to play quality games, that's what you want to do. Focus on making sure that the games you're playing are quality, that you're playing at a high level, not just playing games just for the sake of playing them, because you're going to look back after you're done playing for the day, see all your losses, and regret the fact that you played. It's not worth it just to spam games, spam games. Make sure you're playing at a high level. The next thing that I want to talk about, I kind of already went into a little bit, and that's just playing with a good mindset. And this is another thing that's going to vary from person to person. So just to list off a couple of things that I already mentioned, making sure you're not playing if you're hungry, maybe you're stressed, maybe you had a long day at work, maybe you didn't sleep all that much, maybe you haven't gotten some physical exercise, so maybe just like going on a walk might help a little bit. Making sure you're in the right mindset to play the game. And I know that that might seem a little crazy, a little dramatic, but I did want to show here just something I found that talks about a couple points that could kind of hinder your ability to focus. This is just some random website I found, so it's not like the most credible thing of all time, but I still think it's worth looking at. Stuff like lack of physical activity, unhealthy diet, lack of sleep, even little things that you might not even think about. This is something that I'm just now thinking of. Temperature, lighting, maybe just being on your phone or your computer too much in a single day, stress, poor time management, how noisy it is, notifications, maybe your phone's going off all the time. Is your desk messy? You know, these are all little things that we may not really think that they impact us all too much, but in the big picture, they really do. So if you really care about your rank and you actually want to grind and you want to get to that next rank, then these are some things that you will take into account. If you think this is a little bit too excessive, if we're taking things a little too far, if this isn't for you, so be it. But these are just some little things that do add up, and I think if you focus on these little things, it can make a big difference. The next thing I want to talk about is not trying new things. We had the whole preseason, we had the whole first half of the season, this whole split so far to try new things, to adjust to champion changes, item changes. Even this most recent patch, we've even had like 2 weeks time now to focus on all the new items and the champions and everything in the game. We've had our time to do that. Now is not the time to try to practice new things and learn new things. If you haven't learned something already, leave it as it is. Just practice the things that you already know. I'll go ahead and go back to my own OP.GG as an example here. Something like Rel, which recently got reworked and I think is actually really, really strong. Even though I haven't played it at all this season and it is strong, now is not the time for me to say, oh, you know what? There's less than a month left in the season. Let me go learn how to play Rel and try to use her to carry with. Maybe I would find success, but honestly, I'm just going to continue to play champions that I already know how to play, that I already know work, that I already have a really good understanding of how to play, that I can kind of play on autopilot and play at a high level. Don't put yourself in a position where you're trying to learn a new champion or try to play a champion that just got reworked or whatever it may be. If you don't know how to do it already, now is not the time to learn. In a month from now, when the split ends and you're happy with your final rank and you have a lot of time to experiment before the second split of the season ends, that is your time. By all means, go back and look at these changes, look at the reworks, look at some new champions you've never played before, look at the items, learn and use new things then, but now is not the time to do that. And now for my final piece of advice. This is just to try to put yourself in a position to carry. This is more so for my support mains out there. It also could apply to other roles, something like, a top laner. Don't always put yourself on a tank every single game because you don't have that carry potential. If you're a mid laner, don't put yourself on Karma mid for some reason. Don't put yourself on Lissandra and be like a CC utility kind of role for your team. If you're playing something like support, don't just auto-lock Enchanter every single game. Try to put yourself in a position to carry. If you are confident in yourself, if you really do think that you are deserving of that rank that you're trying to get to by the end of the split, put yourself in a position to prove to yourself and carry your team with those champion picks. That means if I'm talking about support, I'm talking about champions that can engage. If I'm talking about mid lane, I'm talking about champions that can do out a lot of damage, whether that be a mage or an assassin. If I'm talking about jungle, I'm talking about early game champions. Maybe something like Elise, maybe something like Lee Sin. Don't play something like Zac that's going to be farming the whole game and just hope that you're tanky enough to win later in the game. If you really are trying to win, be confident in your own ability. Put yourself in a position to win by playing champions and play styles that are going to allow you to do so. Well, all right then, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap up the end of this video. Again, my 5 tips and tricks for climbing at the end of the split. I really hope that you guys all have some good luck and some good experiences climbing this last month or so of the split. Let me know down in the comment section below what rank it is that you guys are trying to reach before the split ends. As always, best of luck in your games. If you guys went on to enjoy this video, I would really appreciate a like and subscribe. Again, thank you guys so much for watching to the end of this video. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.